to listen to some vocal voices who talks of confusion, who talks of lethargy, who talks of Baba go slow, and somebody goes ahead from as chairman of the Bureau of Code of Conduct, instead of getting down in line with Mr. President model, to go ahead to start shouting to the press that the governor did not declare the asset and he wants us to applaud him, I will not.
Okay, I see, Mr. Daniel, you're trying to say something.
Come to what you said, my friend, what he's saying, then the panel set up by the governors to investigate NNPC are also, investigating in public. They should be quiet. They should do their job properly and report to the body that set the panel up. Rather, they are trading, coming up with issues, making public making Nigerians to be agitated, already reporting their findings to the public is wrong. They should conduct, just you have said that the same thing you recommended for the Code of Conduct Bureau goes to the same panel. They are just playing to the gallery. They are just grand sliding. What they should do is do their investigation properly and report. And those they are reporting to are the ones that will filter the investigation report and then come up to report to the president. That is the best way it should go. I agree with him to that extent. If every other bodies and panels are also advised to do the same thing that he has said the Code of Conduct Bureau should do.
Okay.
I don't agree with him because it is not the duty of the Code of Conduct Bureau to prosecute those governors. It is the duty of the Code of Conduct Tribunal. And the tribunal has not been set. And that is why I say the president should hasten up, appoint the Attorney General or the Minister for Justice, who can now go ahead and vested with the powers to establish that Code of Conduct Tribunal that will begin to, we don't have a standing tribunal.
There was something he said, since you brought up the issue of the Attorney General, there's something that Mr. Okechukwu said about a meeting with the judges. Is it right for the president to meet with the judges and set up operational rules in the court without an Attorney General? Is that wise?
Those are some of the challenges. It is an administrative meeting that will not have any strength in law because it is not backed by any law. There are procedures of courts. There are principles guiding court processes. And in criminal trials, there has not been any set standard that says any criminal trial must be concluded within so and so time. It is that none exists in Nigeria. And of course, it may be a bit difficult to do that. And that is why we are saying, if we have a dedicated court, specialized court, it will hasten the process. We have National Industrial Court that handles labor matters. And that is why you don't see a lot of strikes here and there. It's not as if there are no agitations in the labor industry. But because there is a specialized court that you can run to, the court is the last hope of the common man. And if there is none, there is always this problem. And naturally, every human being, natural law, Jeremy Betta has propounded it. Every human being will want to avoid the pleasure-pain principle. Avoid pain and move towards pleasure. And that is what the court does. Okay. Inflict pain on the wrongdoer and encourage the good doer.
Now, I don't think Ajowele Oluwafemi on Twitter is agreeing with you that the court is the last hope of the common man, because he's saying that the law is meant for the poor in this nation. Impunity and lawlessness is synonymous with our leaders and public officials.
He is right to the extent that in operations, in experience, the rich seems to go free from his wrongdoing. The poor seem to be caught by his wrongdoing. Not because the law is structured like that, but because there is impunity in the land. The rich has the wherewithal to wriggle himself out of problem. The poor does not have the wherewithal. Some people languish in jail because they don't have even lawyers to represent them. Yes. They don't. Whereas the rich man will steal money from the government treasury and engage up to 10 senior advocates. Do you know what it costs to engage one senior advocate of Nigeria to represent you? And it is their profession and their trade. You cannot witch-hunt them on that.
Mr. Abdullahi, let me bring this comment by Olabode Adeni. He says, we need a government business process that hinders corruption. We need a Dignity of Labor Act. That act will ensure that the most junior civil servant meets his or her basic financial obligations from the pay they earn. And he says, until that is done, we have not started the war against corruption.
Well, that is the reorganization the president is currently doing. All the ministries need to be reorganized. Before now, anything goes.
Should there be a Dignity of Labor Act? Should there be a law to guard
the Labor Act already has a provision that covers dignity of labor. So we don't, we don't need to start establishing
is that minimum wage realistic?
Well, that is another issue entirely. But what I'm trying to say is that if the ministries are doing what they're supposed to do, if you are promoted when you deserve to be promoted, you earn what you deserve, things will be relatively okay in this country. But what we used to have, people are complaining, you see, you bring somebody from nowhere, becomes a director or an assistant director. You that you have been in the civil service, you are not allowed to go to that level. That was a practice before now. So we had. So if all these things change, we are going to have a better Nigeria. So I agree with him, but we don't need to create another act for dignity of labor.
Mr. Okechukwu, the war against corruption, the efforts to ensure that clean up the system, the rot in the system, stealing and all of that, can it work without the enactment of a, as they said, specialized courts? What about a specialized law that ensures that everybody in the civil service system and public system is able to take care of himself or herself based on what they earn?
Before I come to that, please let me address the issue raised by Barrister Zako. What I said is that when the meeting was held, they brought to the attention of Mr. President that there is Administration of Justice Act 2015 that had made proceedings. Those extension of proceedings, he had curtailed it. He had made it now more difficult if the lawyers exploit it. For the issue of special courts, yes, it has its own advantages. But the point of the matter is that we are going to witness a new administrative system whereby the Attorney General of the Federation will not unduly interfere with criminal proceedings that regards looting of Nigerian funds.
Yeah, that's very essential. Extremely essential.
Okay. Can you now respond to that other question I asked you about the Dignity of Labor Act? They have said here, Mr. Daniel says that is not necessary. Okay, we've lost him there. We'll get back to Mr. Okechukwu in a moment.
Yeah, Chief Mr. Okechukwu made a very valid point on the issue of nolle prosequi, whereby a matter will be before a court of law, competent court of law, a prosecution against a serving officer. And then surreptitiously, the Attorney General will go to the court and withdraw the case. And many of such things happen without the media reporting such cases. And before you know it, the fellow who hitherto was standing trial is let off the hook. And that is by executive withdrawal. And that's what he's saying, that this is a president that will not tolerate that. And I want to stand by him strongly on that. Okay. Anybody who infringes the law, especially with respect to the looting of treasury, must be brought before the law and punished adequately.
Now, I know there are laws you need to deal with that, but Ajowele again is saying that we need to block leakages and enact a law that will make anyone found corrupt lose his right of citizenship and advocates.
So that is going too far. You cannot make one. There are models of getting citizenship. Citizenship by birth. You are born a Nigerian. Your father a Nigerian. Your mother a Nigerian. Where would they throw you to? So
they banish you from the nation.
It's an extreme reaction.
And that tells you how frustrated the people are.
Exactly.
Let's look at the laws, the punitive measures that are meted out to corrupt, those that are found to be corrupt. In some countries, it's a death sentence. In some countries, it's a life imprisonment. In some other countries, it's a lengthy jail term, just to ensure that nobody thinks about going in that direction. Do you think our punitive measures meted out in this country are enough to scare anybody from going there?
Well, they are. The laws are there. It is the implementation that is the problem here.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So how is it that someone's accused of stealing how many billions, and he gets about 750,000 naira fine, and someone who